Hey everybody, welcome back. So last week I started talking about our anchors and what fills them. And one of the things that fills them is our fear and doubts that we don't want to talk about. I also shared, some things I've learned about fear along the way. And I also started talking about those what ifs. Now, as women, we know we have about 1,200 thoughts going on at all times. We all know this. And as we go through our thoughts, we always run into a what if. And when that what if enters our mind, we never go best case scenario. We always go worst case scenario. And a what if with the worst case scenario brings fear. Now, a few years ago, I spoke to a group of young female athletes and their moms, and I talked about the what ifs. When I was done, there was a mom in the room that made a beeline for me. And I got to admit, this woman was very, professional. You could tell she had it together. I got to admit, she was a little bit intimidating. And she came straight up to me and she said, "This isn't just an athlete thing." I said, "Talk to me." She said, "I'm an attorney." And she said, "I know I'm smart. And I prepare really well for court." She goes, "I walk into court feeling good, feeling prepared, feeling ready and confident." She goes, "But then I walk through that swinging door to get to my table. And by the time I get to my table, it's as if I have no confidence left." And then she said, "And you know what pisses me off the most?" She said, "I look over at the table to my right and there's a man standing there. I know he isn't as smart as me because I've been up against him before. And I know full well he hasn't prepared as much as I have. And yet he stands there with so much confidence." So I can't tell you how many times I've heard similar stories, right? Where we're walking into these pressure moments, feeling like we're prepared, feeling confident. But then when the pressure actually hits, it's as if we have no confidence. Because our what if with our worst case scenario attached is bringing so much fear, it feels as if we have no confidence. So I have spoken to thousands of women over the last few years, and I have challenged these women to write down what they're thinking in those moments. In those moments that it's time to step up, it's time to perform, what is going through your mind. And I speak to athletes. I've spoken to pretty much every sport out there, team sports, individual sports, but I also speak to women in business. And I've challenged everybody. Tell me what you're thinking in these pressure to perform moments. And as I got the lists back from these women and I started looking at them, I realized pretty quickly all these fears are really similar. Yes, maybe some are worded different. Yes, of course, some are a little bit different, but for the most part, these are the exact same fears. And so today I thought that I would share some of those fears with you. And this list that I'm about to share with you, this is, from some of the most successful women I know. These are Olympians, Olympic medalists, national team athletes. These are CEOs and attorneys and managers and women climbing the ladder at work. I want to know, what are you thinking when you're feeling the pressure? And remember, these are the women that we're intimidated by. These are the women that we see and go, "Gosh, I wish I could be fearless like them." You ready? What if all my hard work doesn't pay off? What if I give my all, I sacrifice, I do everything right, and it still doesn't pay off? Or another way of putting it, what if this is all for nothing? What if I disappoint my coach or my boss, my teammates or my coworkers, my parents, my fans, my kids, my spouse? We do not want to disappoint. What if I embarrass myself? This is a big one for us because we care very much about what other people think of us. What if I'm out of my league? What if I don't belong here? And the crazy thing is, I hear this from some of the best athletes in the world. And they are ranked at the top of the world and they still worry that they're out of their league. I also hear this from women that are walking into meetings and they're the only woman in these meetings. What if I don't belong? What if I don't get my job done? And then the team, my boss, my coach gets frustrated with me? What if I'm not as good as I think I am? This is a really scary one because we all want to believe we can do something great, but what if? What if I don't deserve this? I mean, I hear this one so often and I think, how did we get to this point as women? That we worry we don't deserve the good stuff from our hard work? But I hear it all the time. What if I'm not prepared? And then what if I'm not good enough? I hear this from women with Olympic gold medals hanging around their necks. And I think to myself, good enough for what? You're an Olympic gold medalist. But this is our reality. So, of course, I can give you hundreds more. I've been doing this for a long time, but these ones are the ones that pop up the most. And across the board with every woman that I meet or work with. So the reason that I wanted to share this list with you is because if you've ever had a thought like this, if you've ever, had one that's even similar or familiar to these, I want you to know, actually I need you to know, you are 100% normal. It doesn't make you weak. It doesn't mean you can't be mentally tough. There is nothing wrong with you. You are 100% normal. And most importantly, I need you to know you are not alone. Last time I said that everyone experiences fear, but everyone also thinks they're the only one experiencing fear. I hope this proves to you that you are not the only one. But I'll tell you, every time I speak, when I look up into the audience, almost always I find at least one wiping a tear away because she is so relieved to know that she's not the only one. But here's my question. Why are we so embarrassed to talk about this stuff? Why aren't we talking about this stuff openly? Why are we shoving it down into our anchor and it's keeping us stuck if everybody is having these fears? Here's my challenge. I want you to write down what you're thinking in these pressure moments. And here's the deal. Some of them are going to be what ifs, probably most of them, but sometimes when we have a what if and we throw it down into the anchor and we just leave it there, sometimes it can change. And a what if I don't belong here turns into a I don't belong here. What if I'm not good enough turns into a I'm not good enough. And we're walking into these big moments with that kind of stuff going through our minds. Now, I challenge you to find the courage to be honest with yourself. Write down what you're thinking in those pressure moments. And the reason I want you to write it down is because this is the first step in learning how to handle the fear when it inevitably comes in pressure moments. So what I tell my clients is this: you're gonna go there. You are going to run into a what if. You are going to go worst case scenario. You are going to run into fear. Nothing wrong with that. Totally normal. You're gonna go there. You just can't stay there. And that's what we're gonna talk about next time. See you then.